Okay, so I'm just going to work through the calculations in Excel for the population standard deviation. This is from the lecture notes. First thing I'm going to calculate is the pop mean. And I'm going to use the Excel formula equal to average. And I grab the values. And the average is 50. And then I'm going to calculate x minus the pop mean, which is equal to the value minus the mean. Put the brackets around the b because I'm always going to be subtracting from the same value, and that's press F4 when you have the cursor right there somewhere in the B6. There we go. Now, if I sum that, it'll sum up to 0. And it always will, no matter what the values are. Okay. So then I want the x minus the mean squared. And let's stretch that out so we have the text. And that's equal to this value. And the exponent to the exponent is the hat, which is over the 6. So shift 6 hat 2 should give me a 225. Drag that down, and now that does not sum to 0. Nice. And n is equal to 4. So the pop variance is equal to the 500 divided by 4. And the pop SD, which is standard deviation, is equal to, and the function for the square root, because it's a common function that you run, is SQRT. So square root of 125. And there we go. 11.18. I can round that. I want that down to 2 decimal places, and then I'm rocking. And this value here is my sum of squares. There. And I'm just going to repeat that for the geckos. But for if you want to just go right straight to the pop standard deviation, pop SD. There actually is a function in Excel. So pop ST. So a standard deviation of P, which is the population. And if I take those 4 values, it should get me my 11.18. And there we go. If you want the pop variance, it's equal to var p. And take those same values. So you can calculate the population variance and the standard deviation all in one step. And this is what it looks like. You can pause it here if you want to look at the calculations and how they were run through Excel. Geckos, let's get to work here. Let's make this a little bigger. I don't want it. That's a little too big. Oh, that's good. Okay, let's just shrink that down a bit. Okay. I'll drag this over. So I need to calculate the mean, sample mean. Equal to average of those 3 values. Fix my mistake. So the mean is 6. And I'll just grab my control copy and I'll fix that. Control V, x minus the sample mean. and x minus the sample mean squared. And that's equal to 4 minus the 6, which will give me my minus 2. Adds up to 0, and if I square that, hat 2, my sum of squares equals the sum of those values. My n minus 1 equals 2. Sample variance equals the 8 divided by 2. And the sample standard deviation equals the square root of that. Relatively straightforward. And once again, if I want to do that in using SPSS's or Excel's functions, I'll just do variance, sample variance, and that's equal to ST sample. Oh, variance. I want the variance. Equal to ST var. Oh, stupid of me. ST var sample. Grab the 3 values. Should give me a 4. Sample SD equal to ST sample and the 3 values. Boom. And a little bit here, and if I want to show you the formulae, those are the calculations that I performed. Okay, so you could have paused there. So this is for the practice questions. First of all, let's do the range. The range is equal to the I'll just do it here, equal to the upper real limit 72.5 minus 51.5. Which is equal to 20.9. Okay, so let's go. Let's once again just walk through the calculations. I'll do it here. So I'm doing populations, so I can grab my here, Control copy, Control V, calculate my mean equal to average. Okay. 61. Take that. It's equal to that minus the mean F4. Oops. F4. Just for practice, should sum up to 0. Always does. And it sums up to 0. That's just an audit check. Then I got to square those values. Equal to that hat 2. Okay, SS is the sum, and that's equal to the sum of the squared deviations from the mean. N, this is the population, is 6. The pop variance is equal to the 286 divided by the 6, and I'll round that to 2 decimal places, and the pop SD equals the square root of that, and squeeze that down 2 decimal places. Okay, and if I did that using the formulae, so if I use the functions in Excel, I can just go right straight to the calculation. Equal to var pop p, and I pick out my values. Should give me my 47.67. All right, and then my pop std And there we go. Okay. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's do the next practice one. So I'm just going to grab this. And now we're on to practice 2. Let's stretch those out. Let's fill in the squares here. Sorry. Copy. Okay. And then, let's just, I gotta delete this here. Okay, range. The range, the upper equal to the upper real limit for 63.5 is 63.55 minus the lower real limit is 51.05. Which is equal to 12.49. I have to be mindful of the real limits. So if I look at 51.5, or sorry, 63.5, the lower real limit is 63.45. The upper real limit is 63.55. Okay? And for the, okay, so I'm going to leave that. Okay, next thing I calculate the mean, or the average. That's the sample mean. Is equal to average 56 equal to each value minus the mean, F4. And let's just carry that to 2. Actually, I need 1. Okay, then I gotta square that. That should add up to 0. That's a little check. It always adds up to 0. That's why we have to square it. Delete. I'm gonna square it equal to that hat 2. Sum of squares equals the sum of those values. Enter. N minus 1 equals 5. Sample variance equals the 96.36 divided by the 5. And the sample SD, sample standard deviation, equals the square root of the 19.272. And let's just round that 2 decimal places. Okay, now if I did this, just stretch that a bit, equal to var.s, and that's these values here. And